Okay, Simone, for those of you who weren't here last session, the recommendation was at the end of each year, or maybe every 6 months, fire we'll call it the bottom 10% of your customers. And you can do this several ways. The one way is just emotionally. Who's the biggest emotional drain on you? And it really doesn't matter from an energetic standpoint and quality of life standpoint. It doesn't matter how much profit you're getting from them. I had a client that provided 70% of my coaching income. And it took me a while to do this, but I fired them. And I know that doesn't match the bottom 10%, but they weren't a match for me in my core values and my integrity. You know, I was doing contract coaching, and this was a world-class person, world famous, 7 best-selling books. She had her own jet. I would travel around with her, do seminars in different countries and across this country. And it was a great opportunity, but ultimately it was really important for me to stay in integrity and serve people. So that's one criteria is, you know, follow your gut, follow your integrity, follow your values. And the more we're in integrity with ourselves, the easier life becomes. And the better we feel about ourselves, which creates confidence, which creates an upward energy spiral. The other obvious way to do that is, you know, there are people that, you know, that I quoted too low, or somebody wanted a bro deal, or they've been a friend for a long time, and I'm not making any profit. So those would be good people to fire. And you don't just, not like, what was that, The Apprentice show where somebody would fire people? You don't do it like that. It's more like, hey, you know, I'm getting too booked up to serve you. I have these 3 people that I would highly recommend. These 3 enemies. No, just kidding. But you set them up for success. You don't just drop them. You don't just fire them. And then what would be some other criteria? We have kind of the PETA clients, pain in the arse.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
I really think those are the main 2 categories, is profitability and energy.
Yeah, a lot of times the lowest paying ones want the most from you. Right. They don't just what they're paying for, they want that and the full course as well.
Yes, absolutely. And you can negotiate with them as well. I had a client in San Francisco that I did search engine optimization for, and she was in a completely unrelated industry, but she micromanaged my SEO and didn't let me, it like took up a bunch of my time and energy, and it's really frustrating. Like I didn't feel like I had the trust, and I fired her 3 times, and ultimately she kept coming back and saying, I really want to work with you. And I said, okay, I'm going to double my rates. And she said, okay. And we were both happy. So sometimes you can renegotiate rather than fire and just say, hey, you know, like, anyway, I think that's another possibility just for having some gray area in this firing process. And I think it was Corinne that I was talking to yesterday, and I wanted to share some tools. Does anybody get, and this is a total shift of subject, does anybody get frustrated, angry, pissed off, ever?
Never.
You guys should be coaching then. I know that's an obvious question, so let's all raise our hands. Yeah, we do.
Exit 232 onto Palindale Avenue.
And then, so the secret of life is not getting pissed off. That's where a lot of people put their focus and their spiritual growth on. But I find that an impossible expectation. So the secret is in diminishing the time that we spend. And I'm in a 6-month program studying positive intelligence. And you can check it out at positiveintelligence.com and I'll talk more about it. But Shirzad is the CEO of this company. He's a former CEO of the Coach Training Institute, where I got my life coaching training. And it's just an incredible program. He also went to Stanford and has done studies with tens of thousands of CEOs all over the world using this positive intelligence exercises. And the bottom line is emotionally, our emotional reactions that I call them below the line, there's a line of neutrality emotionally. And then above the line is happiness, peace, acceptance, joy, intimacy or connectedness, love. Below the line is, pissed off, frustrated, angry, etc. And even apathy could be below the line. And just like our physical nervous system, our brain nervous system has an initial reaction to something, and usually the reaction comes from our childhood or the past. It isn't actually a real danger. And so our initial emotional reaction is what it is. And it's like putting your finger on or near a hot stove. That pain reaction is really valuable, but it's not valuable for more than a second. So Shirzad has these exercises that take around 10 seconds to shift from emotions that probably are a result of childhood programming back to reality and being able to choose our mood, choose our next steps, choose our approach. And so it could be 10 seconds of conscious breathing, just slow, deep breaths, just 3 of them can bring you back. Another exercise is, and this works so well. I mean, I know you guys know this stuff, but these are surprisingly incredible exercises. This is like going to the gym, but you only have to do it for several minutes a day usually. So wiggling all your toes one by one, just going toe by toe, 1 second per toe. That's 10 seconds. It brings you back to reality, back into your body. And then you can say, all right, how could I handle this differently? How can I get back into my frontal cortex, which is my highest self? That's where we have empathy, we have creativity, we have innovation, and we have direction or navigation. So navigation from our internal core values. So we want to go from the primitive portion of the brain, the amygdala, which is designed to save us from saber-toothed tigers that don't exist anymore. And most of our fear is not real and never happens. So we want to get out of these negative emotions as fast as possible. And these exercises, believe it or not, actually change our brain matter composition. So if I did a minute of curls every day, my biceps would get bigger. Spending less time in those, what happens is we have these grooves, we have these neurons or nerves in our brain from the primitive portion of our brain, like, from our eyes or ears or wherever we get the sensory data. And we go down these old paths and we dig them, and there's ruts in our brain. And it's actually, with MRIs, they've shown that these exercises shrink the amygdala, shrink the primitive monkey brain, and grow the frontal cortex. So that's my encouragement. Check out positiveintelligence.com. He also has a book, and I'm getting trained, like I said, to help people with this. But I really wanted to share this with you guys because it can end a lot of our suffering. And our suffering comes from, one, making bullshit up that doesn't apply anymore, or taking our past and putting it in our future. And the less time we spend in negative emotions, I don't know if you believe in the law of attraction, or some of these old principles, success principles. I've found out that 80% of highly successful people meditate on a daily basis. And another success formula is doing a gratitude journal. Both those things get us in a neutral to positive state of mind and create that upward spiral. But these 10-second exercises work much faster than meditation. They also, if you do meditate already, they help you get into a deeper zone faster in meditation. And I was doing some exercises yesterday where it's called attach and label. So I was just focusing on my breath. And I did this you can do this for 2 minutes. Focus on your breath. This is a great thing to do after a tough, stressful meeting or phone call or altercation with your significant other or mom or whatever. But for 2 minutes, you just breathe. And if your focus is truly on your breath, then you just label it breath. Great. Breath, breath, breath. What am I going to have for lunch? Breath, breath. My shoulder itches. Breath. God, that guy pissed me off this morning when he cut me off. Breath, breath. And like our brain is skitter scatter. But that exercise helps us stay in our breath and stay conscious. So that's another great exercise. Any thoughts or anything anybody wants to share? I know this may sound a little weird from a business coaching perspective, but the more we can take control of our life and take control of our brain, this is ultimately about being in the top 20% of productivity. Because our brains can really shut us down for a long time.
There's one thing that when I'm in that space, I'm trying to do that too, where it's just getting out of that negative space. But what helped me a lot is just focusing on something that I really love or care about, like my daughter, or like just something that I have one thing that kind of like when I think about it, it just, oh, okay, it's just pure love. So it kind of tricks. It doesn't really matter why you go there, but if you go there, then you kind of get out of that space, and then that positive energy kind of flows, and then it's like, okay, and then you continue. So that's what kind of helped me, is just find that one thing that really brings you joy.
Yeah, Candace, that is so good. That's another great thing. And how long does that take?
Oh, well, 5-10 seconds, but then
Right.
You kind of even want to stay there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you do have a relationships conflict, there's a few tools, and one of the tools is really related to what you just said. And that's picture the person when they were 3 or 4 years old, 2, 3, 4 years old. Even if they're an adult, even if they're a boss or they're super controlling or whatever, at one point they were an innocent child before they had their saboteurs taking over their brain.
Sorry.
Hey, Corinne, I don't know if you're trying to communicate, but it's garbled. I don't know, or if you can mute to get rid of the background noise. So the other way to deal with relationships and conflict, and those can tie us up for days sometimes, is think about yourself, towards the end of your life, sitting on a rocking chair on the porch, end of your life, looking back, how important is this? So that's a good perspective exercise. And then another one, and this may be a little extreme, but I think it's in extreme cases, it's really handy. And that's if this is the last time you were going to see that person, what would you say? How would you behave?
My favorite saying is, in 100 years, will it really matter?
Right. Good
I
one.
say that a lot. And blinking my eyes, that's something that really brings me back into focus. So, but this really does wrap around closing sales as well.
Good one. If you get somebody that yells at you or slams the phone, and you initially you probably would be upset and taking it personally. And then how do you get into your frontal cortex? And Simone, you've shared the exercise of, if your close ratio is 10%, every single phone call, every 9 no's, every 10 no's, you're going to get yes. And how much is that yes worth? And, like really get into motivation and positive thinking and back in the saddle. Because as we all know, being a successful entrepreneur takes creative persistence.
And getting that no mindset out of your head before you even go into the sale is so important.
Exactly. Sales is an energy transfer. So having the positive energy definitely helps. And sales helps us help others. I'm going to check the chat real quick, see. Claudia, can I solve this problem with the bat? Not sure I can wiggle into it separately. Okay, great.
Did I type that?
No,
I think
Jacob
I typed
did.
that.
Jacob typed that for you. Yeah, I see that. I see how you deal with relationships, Claudia.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Just
I
trying
like
to
that,
add
Jacob.
some tools to the tool belt for all of us.
My ex used to say you can solve anything with a bigger hammer, but I think being positive is really important. And I think there's so much negativity going on around us, whether it's COVID or politics or, family or whatever, work. I think that the faster we can shrug it off and move on and maybe, look at something with a positive spin instead of a negative spin. And,
Exactly. And it doesn't mean necessarily brushing it under the carpet. If it's important and it needs to be dealt with, sometimes we need the courage to follow up and have a conversation, but we want to have a conversation from a place of peace and love and connectedness. And even if you think this person is so full of crap and totally wrong, just consider that they're 10% right. How can you put a step into the doorway of connection and mutual understanding? Because that's where win-win comes from.
This is where Jacob should be stepping in and plugging as well. Jacob, how important is exercise for your mentality?
I would go insane without it. I think movement of your external self is important to kind of calm your mind. If you're able to kind of get out of your head space and just move your body, then it can kind of bring some calmness to you. And you need calmness in order to focus on whatever you need to get done.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jacob. And Jacob and I work out a couple times a week, and it's fantastic. But we don't have to have an hour workout or a half-hour workout. 10 squats, 10 push-ups, 5 burpees, that can shift your whole day. Or even just stretching it while you're breathing a little bit. So let's transfer to a cool subject. It's totally related to sales. How many people think that additional sales would mean additional income? Come on, people. I'm just making sure you're awake and listening. All right. On the business side, the first thing I want to share is, anybody heard of Peter Drucker? Well, look him up. He's He came from the San Francisco Bay Area, went to Stanford, and has written several books on business success. But he says, what gets measured gets improved. So if you go to peakbusinesscoaching.com, you can go to the resources page, and I have a lead tracking spreadsheet there that you can download if you don't have something like this. But this is what we want to measure. What gets measured gets improved. And Simone, I know you track, like yesterday we talked briefly and you said your goal was 90 calls and you did 103. You probably did more, I'm guessing, since after we talked, but you rock that. So the first thing to measure is a connection. A connection can be an outreach, can be a follow-up, can be phone call, text, email, etc. Carrier pigeon. So measure your connections on a daily basis. And then measure your invitations. As guys, sometimes we jump to wanting to go to the close too quickly. I won't say anything about sex.
Don't ask me to marry you before we dated.
Exactly. So invitation. So setting an appointment is a very important piece. And then measure your actual engagements, whether it's phone, Zoom, in-person meeting. And then sometimes people meet and they chitter chat, and Ivan Meisner wrote a book on sales and the difference between males and females. And I know this is a generalization, but oftentimes females will chitter chat and chitter chat and chitter chat and have 5 meetings, never make an offer. Not never, but it takes a while. And I know this is a generalization, and there's men that do that and vice versa, but it's just to highlight, it's really important to make an offer. And if you're afraid to make an offer and just consider it practice. Don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. But an offer, and I'll go into these details, but an offer isn't an obligation. You may have that positive energy and expect a yes, but if someone says no, that's okay. But making the offer is really important. And then how many clients do you get and how many dollars do you get? So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that are great to measure in sales.
Can you just repeat them really quickly again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So a connection, how many connections? How many invites? How many engagements? How many offers? So those are all steps of the sales process, getting to know it, build, know, like, and trust. Then number of clients, which is a result, and dollars, which is a result. The next piece that's really part of the art of the close is framing. And framing is curiosity. It's questions. So where are they? What's the challenge that they would love to get rid of? What's the opportunity that they would love to manifest? Where are they? If they do have a problem or challenge, how long have they suffered from this? What have they tried in the past that didn't work? What do they really want? Where do they want to go? So I call that the delta. Where are they and where they want to go? And so if they have a problem and they get rid of the problem, that's great. We call that aspirin marketing. And then if they don't have a problem, but they have a dream or desire and they want your help getting there, where do they want to go? What do they really want and why? Don't forget the why. Like if somebody wants to make 10,000 a month, 120,000 a year, that's empty and meaningless until you find out why. They want to set up a fund for their kids' college. They want to set up for a retirement. They want to travel. They want to pay their bills. They want to have a couple thousand extra a month so they have peace of mind if their car breaks down. So that's framing. And then another great thing is to have a sample. How can they either sample by getting to know you, getting to know your services, have a little bit of product? That's part of the art of the close. So I give away free coaching up front. Like people don't understand sometimes. At least they say they don't understand what coaching is. Although most people have done sports coaching, but it doesn't matter. It's once people have tasted it, like the Baskin Robbins pink spoon, that's a great sample. How many times have you walked into the ice cream store saying, I'm not sure if I'm really going to get something, but then you try 3 different flavors and you're walking out with an ice cream or a sundae or whatever. So that's where a sample is really important. So what can you offer experientially or free or a coupon to get them started? That'll increase your conversion ratio. And then there's what's called a test close. So it's hypothetical questions. So let's just say I give someone an hour of free business coaching, and I'll reinforce what we went through. So based on what we went through over the last hour, where do you see your business going? What results do you see happening? What's your plan now? What's your path forward? Do you have support in making sure that plan happens? What's the value? What's the benefits and results that you could see yourself getting by us working together? And that's a test close and an assumptive close. Notice I use the words when we work together, not if we work together. So have some questions lined up. And then you want to be able to dance with objections. And I know we've covered this before, but I forget it in the moment. So I think it's good to reinforce. So what are the 2 main excuses or quote reasons that people use to not buy your products or services?
Money.
They don't have the money. What's the other one?
Usually time, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Usually time or what
Those are
the
the main
product is.
money or time. And what we want to find out is what's really going on. Because if I see a watch that I really like, and I know I can put it on a credit card or whatever, or when we really want something, we figure out a way to find the money. And we figure out a way to make the time. So you want to find out what's missing, what's underneath time and money for them. So besides time and money, what else is holding you back? What's stopping you from being a hell yes? Because when I talk to you, and this is all of us speaking to our potential clients, you were excited about X, Y, and Z. I could also feel the pain of A and B. Those are things you've been struggling with for a decade. I'd love to help you with this, but it almost seems like you're getting in your own way from getting what you want. So it's absolutely appropriate for us to coach people to get what they want. But you want to do it with curiosity. What else is holding you back? Well, I'd love to talk to my husband about that. Okay, that's fine. I totally respect that you have a close relationship and you value his opinion. When should we talk next? And then schedule the follow-up. So honor their opinions, but spend some time getting beyond the time and money thing. Well, I'm afraid. I'm afraid it won't work. Well, what's missing? You know, we already talked about this and this, and you said you want to get rid of this problem and you're excited about this. What could I do or say to make it clearer for you? Or do you want to hear some success stories? Or do you want to talk to some people that I've worked with? You know, so that's how you dance with objections. Just a few examples. The other thing is making a clear offer. And that's where this slide will come in handy, and we'll go into more details. But when you make your offer, it's, you know, my strong recommendation for you to get to where you want to go would be doing an hour a month of coaching, and I charge X amount a month. When do you want to get started? And then just be quiet. So listen, let them talk. So you can just let them talk, sign up, tell them next steps, you know, how to pay, send an invoice, etc. That's one opportunity. If they're indecisive, then honor that. Just meet them where they're at, and just say, you know, I like working with people that make quick decisions. They're open-minded. They're willing to get out of their comfort zone. They're ready to take action. And if you're not a hell yes, I'm not going to push you into this. So that's a little bit of takeaway close. It's a little bit of meeting them where they're at, so that you're also kind of putting a little bit of challenge out there for them to step up their game and be a decisive person. And also not coming from a place of scarcity, but from a place of, you know, I'm a badass blank, whatever you do. And, you know, I want to work with people that are excited about working with me and excited about getting the results that you want. And the same thing with a good fit. You know, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. And whatever they say, wherever they're at, is great. Thank them for their time, their energy, for listening. And if they say no, ask them for feedback. You know, how could my presentation have been more clear? You know, how could I have said things differently? Every offer, every connection, engagement, an offer is an opportunity for us to learn and improve and get better. We don't have to take everybody's advice word for word. You know, take what 80% of people say, because that's where the truth lies. Not don't listen to every one off, or it'll drive you crazy. The other thing is saying, well, I was really clear on the type of clients I work with. I saw a lot of opportunity for you. It sounds like you're not quite ready. That's fine. Who else do you know that could really benefit from my services? Use that as an opportunity to get a referral introduction. That's money right there. That last point. I want to really emphasize that. And some of us have referral programs. You want to reward people for referrals. You know, like I said, Rick has, I think, a $500 reward for a referral that results in close of business. That's pretty enticing. But a lot of times people don't tell everybody every time about it. And that's where the money lies. You know, one is having a compelling offer. So, you know, if you send a coaching client to me, you get one free session, or you get 50% off on a free session. So what is it in your business that you could offer? A sample, or a discount, or extra time? Referrals, I'm going to go on to the next slide. Referrals close 70%. That's from a survey of 3,000 businesses. 3,000 businesses, over 50% of them got the majority of their business from referrals. So it is the fastest path to cash or business growth. And why do referrals work? Hold on to that question. Before I answer that question, or you answer that question, I want to share this quote by Chris Salem. Give without expectation. So that's the Baskin Robbins pink spoon. That's your sample. That's your experiential, know, like, and trust building, relationship building experience. So give without expectation. Most of us just naturally do that, no problem. And if anything, sometimes we have to watch from giving too much. Now, the second part of this, receive without resistance. That's where myself and maybe other people in this group could grow. So if somebody compliments you, just smile and say thank you. When you smile and say thank you, when you receive without resistance, you're actually giving a gift. When somebody signs up for my coaching and I just am totally grateful and honored, that's a gift, because now I get to help them and you get to help your people. So my encouragement is to continue to just receive, allow. I love the word allow, because a lot of my life I've pushed really hard to get where I am. And we can grow our businesses with ease and grace and flow. Any comments on that?
I think that's good advice. I think sometimes, I guess I'm wondering if I should tell the story. It's like I had breakfast with Jacob and he paid my breakfast. And I'm like, but, and he's like, no, someone did it for me and I'm paying it forward. I'm like, okay, thank you. I just,
Nice.
sometimes I kind of resist when someone's, and I've had it happen to me a lot. People always, I don't know if people feel sorry for me, for my recent circumstances, but they just wanted to pay. And I'm like, okay, thank you. So.
Great example. And, that's growth. Every time we do it, it gets easier. Fantastic. So related to referrals, why do referrals work so well? Anybody know?
Well, I think,
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Corinne, you raised your hand. I just started speaking. You go ahead.
Are you
Or
referring
Candace
to
or
me?
Simone?
Well, anytime you get a referral, it turns a cold lead into a warm lead.
Absolutely.
If the referral is done properly, they're going to feel like they already know you. They already want your services. Sometimes anywhere from 40 to 60% of the sale. Absolutely.
It turns a cold lead into a warm lead. The other thing is, nobody wants to be first. They want to follow. They want a shortcut. They don't want to have to do a bunch of due diligence, but they want to feel like they did. So they want to be sent by somebody that's already tested the waters and they got the results that they wanted. So I know trust, safety, proven are all words that relate to why referrals work. The secret is to create raving fans. So do a fantastic job, treat people like gold, and be deliberate in the asking for referrals. I said that before, but I'm going to say it again. Be deliberate in asking for referrals. Ask everybody for referrals if you want your business to grow. And if they don't have referrals, but even, if I do a free coaching and somebody doesn't sign up for coaching, I'll still ask them to do a 5-star review on Google or Yelp, or even a video testimonial or email testimonial that I can put on my website. So those are gold. Those are things that turn warm into or cold into warmer. And how do you ask that? How do you ask for referral? Well, here's a little bit of a script. Do you know anyone who blank? And that could be anybody who has a problem or challenge. Do you know anybody who has a super high PG, is complaining about a super high PG&E bill, and they'd love for it to be reduced 75%? I'm looking for blank. So that's your ideal client. Another really key thing is get an email introduction, if at all possible. So you ask for the referral, but you also ask for specifically how. I did this yesterday. Got a phone call. He said, yeah, I'll text you her information. And I said, hey, would you mind doing an email introduction? And that way I have the follow-up. I had her cell phone and email. And he did it. And most people do stuff if we just ask for it. You know, yesterday I saw a realtor friend of mine who wants to win this local contest for publicity. And she put it out like 3 times. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it on Instagram. I saw it within a networking group that many of us are members of. And some people might think it's pushy, but she asks and she receives. She gets all kinds of rewards and she gets all kinds of business. And she gives. She does a great job. So it isn't, you know, like take. That's not what we're talking about here. But just ask. And if someone says no, then cool, no big deal. Pat yourself on the back for asking.
I think it's really important for referrals as well, for accountability, making sure that when you get a referral, you follow through with it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'll just give an example. Yesterday, I got that referral and spam risk phone call. I got a referral on the phone, got the email introduction, and that included a cell phone number. And my day was packed yesterday, but in a crack of time, I had 1 minute before my next appointment. I called and I could tell she was busy, but I said, hey, this is Jim Kaspari, the web design guy. Just wanted to follow up. And it says, sounds like you're busy. Do you want to chat later today? And she said, yes, I'll give you a call later today. And she didn't call later yesterday. So I'll follow up again today in cracks of time. So you're so right, Simone, the follow-up, the responsibility, like if somebody gives you a gift, you want to treat it with respect. And the close ratio it's from the instant you get an introduction or you get a lead and you follow up, close ratio can go from 75 to 50%. If you get back to them within an hour, the next day it goes down to about 10% in my experience. Let's see, there was a couple other comments here on the chat. Looks like Corinne has to go. Oh yeah, she's going to the funeral. So that was nice, Candace, to say sorry for your loss. All right, we are almost out of time. Thank you guys for being on the call. This is so much fun. I hope you got a lot out of today. We're going to meet. The next time will be June 3rd. I'll be fresh and relaxed from my vacation. And in the meantime, feel free to email me, text me with any topics, and I'll be well prepared. I will also edit this video and send it out before our next call. Any last minute questions? Comments?
Good info. Thank you, Jim.
My pleasure. All right. Love you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you so
Have
much.
a great vacation.
Thanks.
Thank you.